Hello from my guest room that I have not left. It's a mess in the back. I am still positive. I actually just got retested and I'm still positive, so I'm stuck in this room for the foreseeable future. But being in this room has taught me a couple of hard lessons. I think I've had too much time in my head. I've had too much time to think, and as we're nearing New Year's Eve as well, I think now is just a major time of reflection and just review for most people, regardless of whether they're in isolation or quarantine or not. But there's some pretty big realizations I've had being sick, being in this room, being away from my loved ones. So I just wanted to take a moment to go through them with you guys and see if we could maybe start a conversation on some of these things. And maybe you can help me work through some of this. I don't know, seems like kind of like a YouTube therapy session almost with myself and whoever's on the other side of that camera. So if you're on the other side, do me a favor, comment, talk to me, please talk to me, because I'm losing it. I'm losing it in here. But realization number one is that I feel like I'm chasing after the wrong things. Like, yes, right? Building a huge following and money is nice, right? Fame and fortune, everyone wants it, but it's not the most important thing. And I think it's time for me to put religion back right up top and not just say that it's the most important thing to me, but legitimately show it. Okay, legitimately show it and prove to myself, to God, to everyone that religion is more important than anything else in my life. Because right now, I'm getting so caught up in this world that it seems like I'm not even thinking about the next life and what is waiting for me. So I need to reprioritize. And speaking of reprioritize, that brings me to number two. Number two is I need to make way more time for my husband and not just let him take care of me. I need to take care of that man. And I need to be the kind of wife that really makes sure he's okay. He's been pulling the weight of this family for so long. I need to make sure he is taken care of. I need to make more time for him. You know, so much of it is I miss Lily. I want Lily. Lily this, Lily that. And she is very important. I get that. But also what's very, very important is Nosh and making sure he is taken care of. And so that's a realization. Number three, work-life balance. You know, I'm always thinking about work. I'm always thinking about social media or my next video, and there has to be some balance, right? This can't be my whole life. And you know, with it comes the algorithms up one day, the algorithms down one day. You know, it's not stable. So for me, I'm realizing that I need to create a model of income that's a lot more stable and a lot more a lot less volatile and a lot less more of a roller coaster, essentially. And so I'm working through these things. I'm working through what I want to do next year financially. As you guys know, I had been working with my family and running businesses for the last decade, right? So I'm used to making really good money. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go off and do my own thing and be on social media. And that's great, but it's very inconsistent compared to before. And I've never had to be the kind of wife where I was like to my husband, hey, you're gonna have to support me. But you know, I like to have consistency, and so I'm working through that in my head. So that's one thing that I'm thinking about while I'm stuck in isolation. And then here's the hardest one, and this is where I'll end. I feel like I'm toxic. I'm a toxic person. And I don't mean to be. I'm a toxic person with a really good heart. Let me explain what that means. I have been open about the fact that I have borderline personality disorder, which makes relationships very difficult. So for me, one day, like when something happens to me, I react very, very aggressively. So I was reflecting earlier on some of the situations I had with friends earlier this year. You know, if you've seen a couple of YouTube videos back, you guys remember that whole situation. And I realized the way I could handle situations moving forward with friends is, if anyone ever does wrong to me, learn to bear it with grace. Learn to bow out and to exit and to distance myself from those that hurt me with grace and not with aggression, not with anger, just grace. Just say, okay, I don't think that you and I are in alignment right now. I don't think your energy is good for me. And I respectfully will create some distance. That's what I need to do instead of spazzing out the way that I have in the past. And I get it. Borderline personality disorder does make it a lot harder to handle stressful interpersonal conflict with grace, but I am determined to do that. Okay, I am determined to learn that if something hurts my feelings, or if someone hurts my feelings, just handle it with grace. And my sister is so good at this. My mom is so good at this. And here I am on the other end of the spectrum of like spazhood. And I want to get to the point where the people that meet this version of Sonia, 30 and onwards, like no one can say anything bad. Like if you've interacted with me, and even if we don't see eye to eye, you still are like, you know what, we may not have clicked, but whatever, we went our separate ways. Like I don't want it to be a big issue. I don't want any drama. I don't want any situations. I don't want to fight. I just want to handle my emotions with grace. And so that's why I say there's a lot of room for me to grow. And I'm just realizing I'm like 30 freaking years old, and I still have so much life to figure out. There's so much progress that still needs to be made. And I said I was done, but actually I think there's one more thing that I need to talk about. One more thing, hard truth and hard realization is, so I think this is number 7. I think these are 7 hard truths that I've learned, maybe 6, I don't know. Anyway, bear with me because I still have COVID brain and mom brain and whatever. But the other thing is, what do I want to be known for when I die? Is it just Sonia was an influencer? No, that's not what I just want to be known for. People joke all the time, like the Kardashians, what do you guys have? What talent do you guys have? What are you famous for? And I don't want to just be like, oh, I was known as being an influencer or a blogger. No, I want to be more than that. I want to help people more. I need to help others more. Right? Let's take the ego out of this. Let's take the vanity out of this. Let's start making it more about others than myself. Less about the following, the number, the ego, less feeding of the ego, and more for others. And then also, let me not forget why I started social media in the first place, which is because I wanted to be a writer. And guess what's one thing that I've completely stopped doing? I've stopped writing. I've completely stopped writing. I don't even know how to write. My whole life, I wanted to just be an author, I used to write such long fiction, and I want to get back to that. So I have a book that I had stowed away for the longest time, and I want to work on it. I want to start writing it. It's a really crazy, epic story. I've shared it with a few people, and I think I'm going to start writing it, but I have to work through. First off, I'm so rusty. Do I even remember how to write? I'm going to have to work, sharpen those skills. Number 2, the time to write, to sit down, to just create, I have severe ADHD now. Like I'm actually prescribed medication for it now. It's so bad. It's so bad to sit down. In the process of writing a novel doesn't really excite me as much as it does terrify me, and I need to work through those emotions. But ever since I was in first grade, I wanted to be a writer, and I need to get back to that. Being an influencer, being a blogger is great, but I really want to get back to writing. And so those are some of the hard truths, the hard lessons, the hard conversations and realizations I've had with myself. Share below your thoughts with me, what you think about some of the things I've talked about, and maybe some realizations you've had over the holidays or while you were isolated with COVID. I don't know. And finally, please pray for a negative test soon, because I miss my baby. Okay, bye guys. Thanks for watching.